For our next presentation on digital business processes, Metaverse-Enabled Agility and Collaboration, I would like to ask Philipp Sostmann of PwC onto the stage. There he comes. If you have questions to our fantastic speakers, or if you just want to reach out, use Telegram or LinkedIn. We are always very grateful for any feedback or for any requests that you send our way. And yeah, with that, I hand over to you.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Perfect. All right, so I'm talking more about new business models that we have. The metaverse. We talk about $1 trillion US. No, I heard $5 trillion US, McKinsey says. I even heard Citibank, $13 trillion US. Just let those numbers sink in. So the projections of value creation in the metaverse are tremendous, if you ask me. Who here thinks that the metaverse is a hype? Please be honest, no shame. Okay, almost everyone. Who has been in the metaverse? Okay, a few of you. So I'll ask that question maybe later again after the presentation. And I am convinced that there are use cases that we see now already that will affect every one of you. I'm not talking about finance now, but I'm talking about something that is affecting your life by statistics, 1/3 of your lifetime. What am I talking about? Work. 1/3 of our lifetime we work. What happened March 1st, 1973? March 1st was the release date of the Xerox Alto. What you realize, the Xerox Alto was the first workstation announced. It sold for roughly $30,000 US, which is an equivalent of 120,000 US dollars today. If we have a look, it is exactly the same work setup that we have today. We have a big screen, we have a keyboard, and we have a pointing device, a mouse. If we think about it, the last almost 50 years, most of you have been working, so I don't want to talk this small, but most of you have been trying to create value, and you have created value for sure, but on a screen size which is no bigger than one sheet of paper here. You've been staring at 20 times 30 centimeters of screen size. We've been trying for 50 years to optimize every pixel. Yeah? Looking at PowerPoint, looking at Excel. We've been trying to develop our software, having our gate to the internet on this small surface. When we now talk about immersive technologies, VR headsets, we have for the first time the possibility to break out of the box, to have more productivity than just this small screen. When I talk about work, there are some statistics. An average office worker looks at his screen 1,700 hours a year. Fair? In Germany, you work 38.8 years on average as an office worker. Who's good in maths? Each of us on average is looking at their screen for roughly 7.5 years. So I think there is no doubt that immersive technologies like VR headsets, and we are at this point in time only talking about gaming devices, right? Most of the time, so I think Meta, former Facebook, is saying roughly 80% of the market for standalone headsets is sold by Meta, the Meta Quest 2. The Meta Quest 2 at this point in time is actually designed for playing games, killing zombies. Still, we use it for work setting, and we see already advantages today. So we have a presentation which was given by Mark Zuckerberg just 1 week ago, 11th of October, where they are presenting for the first time business headsets. What you see here is a projection from Microsoft, where you just have an idea. So there are first videos booking around, where you see how it actually looks like. You put your VR headset on, suddenly your one screen turns into several screens, depending flexible on whatever tasks you have at hand. You need to program? No problem. Just put one of your screens upside down, 2 screens next to it. You need to compare Word documents? No problem. Put all the other screens aside, just compare them in front of you. So the way we create value will be changing. As I mentioned to you, we're working nowadays on gaming devices. We as PwC, so my team, for example, we rolled out those gaming headsets, and we are working in those headsets. We do our dailies, we do our retros, we do our sprint plannings, we do our feedback talks. We do them already in VR. I'm telling you, it's quite fundamental, and it's not that sophisticated yet. I'll show you a video in a second. But we are doing it together with the university. Because obviously, as consultants, we have big claims, right? I was talking previously about 1 trillion, 5 trillion, 13 trillion. But we're doing this together with the university. So we have 2 studies going on at the moment with one of our big projects where we measure the effects of collaboration via immersive headsets. What do we see already nowadays? We see reduced social distance. Why do we see this? So when you wear a VR headset and you are completely immersed, I suddenly see an avatar of my colleagues standing next to me. Probably you know this feeling of Zoom fatigue. You wake up in the morning, you make your coffee, and then you have your first dial in. Probably half of people don't even turn on their webcam. So for the first time, you really have this feeling, my colleague is standing next to me. When you're talking to each other, you hear person via spatial sounding. Yeah? So when someone's there on your left, you hear them on your left. When someone is on your right, you hear them on your right. There is really a tremendous difference in how we collaborate. What else did we measure? Increased creativity. People who work fully immersed are not that distracted, which goes hand in hand with the point at the top right. Probably the biggest problem in the last 2 years when we talk about remote working. I guess every one of you has been in a Zoom conference answering emails, receiving WhatsApp messages, receiving a second phone call. The moment you're in the headset, you are in the driver's seat. You can decide whether you want to see the one sitting next to you, called mixed reality. You can look through your VR headset, or you can just immerse yourself fully and be in this virtual room. Maybe you think I'm talking about some crazy magic. I'll show you a video in a second, if the computer doesn't black out. What else do we see? Enhanced communication. Obviously, I will show you later what we built with PwC, some collaboration rooms, because companies approach us, obviously, at the moment with these energy prices, and they say, hey, what alternatives do we have to save money? Office spaces are expensive. Our employees, they want to stay at home, but how can we create a new office feeling? So we have improved and enhanced communication, a stronger team feeling, and probably, I think it's a fun fact, inclusivity. What do I mean by it? VR actually is good, at least that's our theory, for people who are blind. Doesn't make sense, right? VR, headset for someone who's blind, why is that? Just think about it. For example, people who can't see, when they have a Zoom conference, there's just one surface. There's just one sound output. When we talk about immersive collaboration, they put on a headset. First of all, they have spatial audio. So someone's talking over here, I can walk to this direction. I have speech to text. I talk, I can create my content, I can bring it to the wall. I can join audio zones. So the way of collaboration, or you can get a special audio ping. Yeah, for example, someone who can't see probably will receive a note, like move to the left. Your breakout is in this direction, or someone can get additional guidance in these sessions. So there are new possibilities coming up of how we work together. I'll present you in a minute our insights from one of our Lighthouse projects. I'll just go quickly over this. So the title of this presentation is Metaverse-Enabled Agility and Collaboration. Collaboration, I think I've covered so far quite well. So when we talk about agility, agile project management, we talk about transparency, a lot of interaction. And this is actually where we say, at least as PwC, and we've been invited to Seoul, to South Korea 2 weeks ago to talk on television about this topic. We are actually leading at the moment here. We are at the forefront of innovation because we actually see this match of how do we collaborate. Obviously, yes, in a traditional setting, but also in an agile setting where we need to talk, we need to plan, we have sprints, where we work as a team collaboratively. It's a match, okay. When we talk about metaverse-enabled collaboration or metaverse-enabled agility, I'm not planning to put the headset on your head and let you walk around for the next 24 hours. So what we envision at this point in time is you have your laptop and you will have your immersive headset. And I can just simply, I kindly invite you to look on YouTube for some videos. If you ask me later, or I'll have my LinkedIn QR code also, I can send you some video links. It will change the way how we work. Many people believe it, the metaverse, and yes, to be honest, I'm also not 100% sure if Decentraland, the sandbox, which the right environment will be, whether NFTs and in what form they will really create value in the end of the day. But what I can promise you is that the work setup we have today with one laptop and a mouse will not stay the same. We will have a laptop and a headset, for sure. Let me give you a quick insight. Probably that's a good point to quickly show the video. I'm not sure how this works. I submitted a video, so I think there will be a video played. Just one minute to give you an impression of how immersive work actually looks like. All right, so what you just saw is, if you ask me, the worst medium to show someone working in the metaverse. We as consultants are great in building great PowerPoints and PDFs and Word documents, Excel models, whatsoever, and doing some videos. If you ask me, you need to experience it. You need to be fully immersed. But what it probably helps you to understand is what we did. So we work together in this setting, and I will not blame our competitors, it's fine, but many of them are very well in writing some thought leaderships, publishing good papers, doing great videos. But what we have here is, for example, one of the first use cases where we really work in VR, where we really work in metaverse collaboration spaces. So what we did is we rolled out with our client now almost 100 VR headsets. We all did a planning session. So we are working in an agile way, which means we have a planning sessions every 3 months where everyone needs to come together, from the CIO level to the small developer. We brought people together and we did a planning session. So people, for the first time since 2 years, all more or less saw each other, were immersed in a room. We started with a presentation in the beginning, had small breakups, and did our planning. Great. That's a small reference. But now, in the end of the day, what does this mean for you? What's in it for you? So what we did is we built some offices, some metaverse collaboration spaces, which we use for agile settings, which we use for non-agile settings, actually. So I was earlier telling you that there are advantages and that there is a value creation already today that maybe most of us don't see. Maybe here at the bottom right you can see it. We call it the daily district. In many companies, we have small teams, all doing their dailies, or their daily stand-up calls, needing to align for 15 minutes in the morning. Some do it at 8, the others at 9. But to be honest, in the first 2 hours of the office day, you never get anyone. You want to talk to Peter? Peter isn't here. Sergey? Nah, probably at 11 a.m. is the first time we really get him, because some of them are still in dailies or first appointments. Our vision here, and which actually works productively, is 8 a.m., everyone is meeting in this daily district. Every team in their own audio zone, so they can't hear what other teams are saying. 8:15, there's a ping. Everyone is leaving their district, and suddenly I see Peter. I can simply walk over to him. I can quickly tell him, hey, Peter, I need to talk. So for the first time, we don't have this one-to-end communication as we always have it in Zoom conferences. One person talking, 10 people falling asleep. No, for the first time, we have the opportunity to have end-to-end conversations, which increases productivity significantly. So I would like to challenge you also to rethink how your team, how your company maybe wants to work together in future. Call for action. I'm making some fun about the consultants, right? So a good consultant always has 3 calls for action he wants to give in the end of the presentation. First of all, experience the technology. What I mentioned earlier, there is no way of understanding the potential if you don't put on the headset. I'm not telling you need to do it now at our stand. Just at some point when you have never worn a VR headset, put it on. And especially the newest generation, I'm talking about the Pico 4, and I'm talking about the Meta Quest Pro. Educate yourself and identify use cases. Why am I saying this? Probably similar as the big crypto hype in 2017. There are now so many metaverse experts running around, so many people understanding and not understanding and hyping the metaverse. Get a clear understanding what it is and identify real use cases that create value today and not by 2030. And last but not least, this is probably my agile way of thinking, just try it. Generate an MVP. There are many people talking about it, again, doing papers. Just try it, measure the outcome, compare now to the outcome of your prototype. Yeah, and I'm open. I will not ask the question. I'm just afraid of you again telling me, no, Metaverse is still a hype. But yeah, I'm inviting you to this journey and probably just asking yourself, what is the next step for your company? And if you have questions, obviously feel free to reach out. Thank you for your attention.
That was very impressive, very inspiring, Philipp. Thank you so much. If you don't mind, I was forwarded a question, if you still have the time.
Yeah, sure.
And the question is, what you described was extremely immersive, and I think you outlined very well like the type of collaboration that we could experience in such a metaverse-enabled space. But where do you draw the line between like just a virtual reality space and a metaverse space?
Okay, since there is not one, so if someone's professional, he or she will tell you that there is not yet one definition of the metaverse. One thing that I think at least most of the thought leaders have agreed on is that the metaverse is, first of all, enabled by a 3D technology. So there are some 3D rooms. You access it with an avatar. It is live. So when you access it, there is something happening in real time. And it is persistent. And persistent means when you leave the room and you come back to it, the post should be right at the same spot. It's still a working room. It's like an office. It's not like a game where you leave the room and suddenly when you come back, it's resetted. So, and this is the point where I talk about metaverse-enabled collaboration and work, because in these rooms, we use them really as collaboration spaces. So when we work in them, obviously, I don't want to have all my work results to be disappeared because it's great work we do, right?
All right. Perfect. And a very quick answer to this question. Can we check out the PwC working space? Can we check out that metaverse?
It is. So there are actually two big projects we're working on. One is with Arthur, which is one of the leading startups. Another one is virtual spaces, which we are at the moment designing ourselves. If you want to have a demo, just simply reach out. I'm not sure if the team in the back, or if they have already the next presentation, just quickly can put up the QR code. Just reach out to us, and then you can check it out. Otherwise, we still have to stand there, I think, for another half an hour. And then I can show you the rooms. I can show you also our use cases. That wasn't a quick answer, right?
But it was perfectly fine. Thank you so much, Philipp Sostmann.